Welcome back to Nigeria, the road to 2019. I'm Charles Aniagolu. Let's continue our consideration of the arguments and the issues surrounding the upcoming elections, as well as the possible solutions to nettlesome problems that might be thrown up. With me in the studio is a man who's been described as a significant third force in Nigerian politics, one of the founders of the party APGA and the current national chairman of the United Progressive Party, Chief Chekwas Okorie. Thank you very much indeed for staying with us. Beyond the discussions, well, the dissensions and the internecine strife in the parties, what do you make of this latest fractious relationship between the legislative or the legislature and the executive, particularly with regard to the allegations that the Buhari administration is trying to dominate and control the National Assembly?
Well, I think this is a very unfortunate development that has really affected the deepening of our democracy in a very negative way. And it started all right from the very beginning of the constitution of the leadership of the National Assembly. There was something that looked like very bad fate, where a very ambitious and smart young man had gone into some conspiracy with the opposition.
You mean the current Senate President?
Senate President.
Right, Bukola Saraki.
Yes, Bukola Saraki went into some conspiracy, obvious conspiracy with the opposition, the PDP, and did what was unprecedented. And that is a situation where you have the Senate President from the APC and the Deputy Senate President from the opposition, the PDP. And of course, that set the stage for a very rancorous relationship in which the bad blood was injected right from the very beginning, and so nothing could ever be, we could ever get it right. And these flexible muscles, of course, like they say, when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. So Nigerians have been the worst for it, and we just can't wait to have this nightmare behind us.
But you would have thought that with the, because I mean the problems, which is quite extraordinary really, did not appear to be between so much internal. In other words, it wasn't intra, it seemed to be more inter, in the sense that you had the legislature, which had an APC man as the president of the Senate, at loggerheads with the executive, which had an APC man as the president.
That is the thing, but the bad blood was injected at the very beginning.
So it was as a result of that checkmating, as it were, that you talked about. Now,
so within the APC, in the Senate or in the National Assembly, you have some of their members who are more loyal to the executive, and then some of their own members who are also more loyal to the leadership of the National Assembly. It has never happened before. That's why I said we can't actually wait to get this behind us.
Now, apart from that, you yourself have an additional problem with the National Assembly, in that you believe that they don't query the appointments made by President Buhari in terms of equity and fairness. And by that, I presume you mean a sort of lopsided federal character in those appointments. And your contention is that the National Assembly is not protecting the rights of the Nigerian people who voted them in.
That's precisely what I've always complained about. Because when the president made his initial appointments, I was one of the first to come out and say this was not in line with the federal character provisions of our constitution. And above all, we had from the very beginning of his presidency a National Security Council that was not representative of the major stakeholders in Nigeria. And I thought that the National Assembly, which even has a committee that does oversight function on federal character, should have weighed in to call the president to order. All of them were more interested in their comfort, and nobody was prepared to stand up to the executive at that time.
And yet,
so the check and balance was not existing.
And yet we're hearing, Chief Okorie, that your party, the UPP, will not field a presidential candidate in 2019.
Yes.
And by that I take it you mean you simply don't stand a chance of winning. and that you're considering making the same man that you're criticizing now, President Buhari, your presidential candidate.
Well, that's a completely different ballgame.
No, well, I'm asking you the question.
Yes, you are asking me the question. Let me tell you, UPP took a decision by its National Executive Committee not to field a presidential candidate this time. And the reason was very, very obvious.
Right.
We have noticed in Nigeria an unwritten rotational arrangement that has become conventional.
That's the zoning thing.
Yes, rotational, that's the word I like to use, because nobody zoned it, it's not written anywhere. But there is a rotation that has become a convention, more or less. President Obasanjo from the south was there, and then he was succeeded by President Yar'Adua. And after that, the next was President Jonathan, and now we have President Buhari. And then we are looking at a situation where after the next, now looking at this rotational arrangement, UPP had a policy, we still have that policy of choosing zoning our presidential slot to the southeast zone.
Right.
That's our policy.
So you agree with the policy of zoning?
Yes, well, we agree with it. So, but we have looked at it, that with this unwritten convention that is existing, producing a presidential candidate at this time will be like swimming against the tide. We said, all right, let us concentrate our energy, our resources, and time.
Right. To contest other sort of
yes,
smaller
and
positions.
consolidate our structures and prepare to weigh in again.
Yeah, so does that, but you haven't answered the question.
Now,
have you chosen President Buhari as your candidate?
Coming to who we will support, we have the option either to be on our own or to align with any of the options. But PDP is not an option to us.
Right.
The reason is that I personally, I'm not talking for UPP now, I can live with another 4 years of President Buhari. But I cannot endure another 8 years of any of the other person, because in the case of PDP, you don't even know who you are talking about. And then added to the 16 years of nightmare, I said to myself, I am not missing PDP.
Right.
And there's nothing in PDP. The leopard cannot change his spots. And this is PDP. Those who are aspiring are already known.
Right.
They have held positions.
Right.
So they are like recycling themselves.
So you're basically happy to build alliances with other parties, including the APC. Is that right?
Yes, why not? If that is the final decision. For instance, but everybody knows that there is a motley crowd of 39 parties that have signed a certain kind of MOU with the PDP. UPP is not there.
Right.
And that will not lead our party to any kind of collaboration without securing the core values of the UPP into that arrangement.
Right, and so far nobody's made that accommodation.
It's still work in progress.
Right, because I always thought that by not fielding, by you not fielding a presidential candidate yourself at all, and by that I mean the UPP, I mean you're in a sense giving the other parties a greater chance to achieve victory, because, you could field a candidate possibly from the south to challenge that zoning arrangement that you're not happy with.
I did that in 2015.
Right.
And I can tell you...
You've learned lessons from it.
Yes, and I can also tell you that many Nigerians are not really cut out for sustainable opposition.
Right.
Yes, so we are trying to now take time now to the next 4 years to sell our very revolutionary agenda. For instance, we are the only political party that has self-determination of ethnic nationalities in its manifesto registered with INEC.
Right. That presumes a form of restructuring.
That's right. That is even above self-determination is a shade higher than mere restructuring.
Right, okay. We're almost out of time. What's your forecast for the probable course that this election is likely to take? Will it be a smooth event or full of rocky paths with everything from violence to ballot rigging, etc. in the past, as we've seen in the past, or is that a rather dark view?
No, I can give it to the present leadership of INEC that they have done a thorough job. that will make the election a lot better than what we have had in the past. The election in Ekiti State was an improvement on what we had in Anambra State. We are hoping that the election that is coming up in
Osun
State
right,
will be also a better one because it's a test run to 2019. And I'm confident that with the increased application of technology, I'm confident with the administration of the polling unit
right,
in a manner that a voter will not have the opportunity to display his ballot paper to the potential buyer to come and buy, then election this time will be more credible, more transparent, and better. I don't see violence coming up. I don't see it.
Chief Chekwas Okorie, National Chairman of the United Progressive Party, thank you very much indeed.
It's my pleasure.
Well, that's it for this edition of Nigeria, the Road to 2019. Join us again for a fresh edition tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye, and thank you for watching. Thank you very much indeed. Brilliant.